Legends are meant to grow indeed. Cygames has blessed us with an update to Granblue Fantasy Relink after waiting almost 2 years. This new DLC, Endless Ragnarok, brings new characters, combat mechanics, enemies, and gameplay modes that will take the game out of hibernation. Thank you, Cygames. What I want to talk about though is how they can maintain this momentum of DLC into continued support that isn't waiting 2 years for it. As of July 2025, Relink has sold over 2 million copies, which is pretty impressive. And with them adding a Switch 2 player base, as well as adding crossplay within this Ragnarok, they have another golden opportunity to take this game to the heights that it should be at. So let's talk about how they can. First and foremost, they should look at their development inspirations and competition to see what those studios and games are doing well and what can be improved on. I think it's pretty obvious Relink is inspired by Monster Hunter, so Cygames should take a couple pages out of their live service book for how to implement constant updates for Relink. They should also take a look at what other live service games in different genres like shooters or MMOs, see what they do or what ideas they have and see what can be molded into Relink. Now, I have a few ideas I'm going to pitch here in this video, and some of them are more reasonable than others, but I do think all of them are feasible. I think the biggest draw for new content for this game would be new enemies. The DLC is adding that, but how do they expand upon that for new enemies? Obviously adding new monsters, it makes the most sense, as it would also play into the new summon system that they're adding with Endless Ragnarok. Another idea in this vein is kind of creating like a duel style fight against the characters that are playable, in a similar vein to this Twain Seraphim fight that's coming with the DLC. You could tie it into completing a character's fate episode, when once it's completed, you get a duel with that character. I think if they did both these ideas, this would satiate the player base's desire for new fights, assuming the rewards for them are sufficient. Another big draw, I think, would be character customization. Relink is pretty limited with its customization items being limited basically to recolors, weapons, and emotes, at least on the visual side. But I think there's still enough wiggle room to expand upon those core areas for customization. These characters all have different outfits, so giving players the ability to earn these outfits in-game by drop chance, or maybe if they want to tie it into that duel idea from earlier, I think that would be appreciated. You can just go through like the Granblue wiki and just scroll and see all the characters and see all the different alternate outfits and versions and stuff like that. I think you just pick any of them. I mean, there's probably some that people would prefer, but you can pick whichever one you think is the coolest or would make the most sense, and I think either way it would be appreciated by the player base. Weapons fit in a similar vein, but they could be tied to crafting instead. Even if it's just to recolor the same weapon in order not to have to worry about balancing for builds or anything like that. Just having a variety of options for styling these characters in a more personal way, I think could be beneficial. Another way to keep the community interested would be through seasonal events, similar to what Monster Hunter does. They could be events in every quarter or only for major holidays, and they can decorate the hub towns to fit those themes. Cygames could even add seasonal cosmetics like a Santa hat or emotes that use like snowfall or fireworks, or even emotes that require multiple players that are all themed around the event. This would probably be more work than the previous ideas, but it would make the world of Zega Grande feel more alive. More new playable characters is always a plus, especially with the roster that Granblue has. If they do decide to put in time into new characters, I would prefer if they're not characters that are already featured in Versus Rising. This could give them the opportunity to cross-pollinate between Relink and the global version of the gacha game, which seems like that is what they primarily did with choosing characters in Relink and Rising. The global release comes out in basically a month from now, at least at the time of recording this video, and they give the dev team plenty of time to kind of see who sticks with the global release and see what characters they like. It would give them another data point compared to what the JP audience has probably shown them for years. But I think it's a neat opportunity to try and cross-pollinate between the two. This opinion may be because I'm a Western Granblue fan and my only real experiences with the IP has been through their other games like Shadowverse and Umu Musume, as well as primarily through Rising. So I'd like to personally see new characters The last thing I think they could do that I think would be really cool and fun, but probably the least feasible, would be some sort of collaboration or crossover event with a non-Cygames IP. They definitely should do a collab with their other IPs like Musume or Shadowverse, but a true crossover would be sick. They've done crossovers in their other games, so there is precedent for crossover to be possible. So just let your mind run wild and imagine a crossover between Relink with something like Warframe or Final Fantasy or some kind of extra crazy stuff like Expedition 33 or like Marvel Rivals or even Monster Hunter. A man can dream. At the end of the day, I think all these ideas are feasible based on the track record of Cygames' other titles, as well as what they've already done within Relink. At the end of the day, the overwhelming response to more content for Relink created in this Ragnarok. And while they've said that incremental updates wouldn't satiate the player base, I think they should take this opportunity to at least try, while they hopefully work on another large-scale DLC drop like this, or even a Relink 2. Like I said, a man can dream. I'm grateful for new content either way, but this is the opportunity to try and experiment, and just see what works, see what people like, see what people don't like, and then you can take it into the future. That way, at least they know for sure if it's something that the player base wants, which I believe it is, or else I wouldn't have made this video going into ideas on how they can do this. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, or what things you'd like to see for Relink's future. Either way, there's a closed beta in March to try out Beatrix and crossplay, so sign up for that on their website to try that out and see if you get in. Now let's get out there and grind for War Elemental Plus.